What's going on, everybody? It's Ted again here with CountdownCityGeeks.com. Another incredible interview for you. The three gentlemen sitting in front of me are all a part of this fantastic new found footage independent film called Found Footage, The Making of the Patterson Project. With me right now is Max Tzannes, David San Miguel, and Jacob Souza. How's it going, gentlemen?
So good. Thank you so much for sitting down with us today.
Absolutely. This was such a blast. I am a huge fan of found footage to begin with. So as soon as this hit my desk, I was like, yes. And I feel like found footage is still that sort of subgenre of horror that hasn't reached its full potential yet. When I was at that perfect like teenage age when Blair Witch came out, you had movies like Cloverfield that really like elevated the genre. And then you have franchises like VHS, which is allowing filmmakers from all walks of life to come together and create just fantastic material. Tell me first, where did the inspiration for this specific story come from, and why you chose to make it a found footage genre?
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Came from our own experience. Yeah, making our first movie, to be completely honest.
Yeah, we made a movie called Et 2. It's actually coming out the month after this one comes out because that's just how things work sometimes.
Yep.
But we've been working together for like 7 years on short films, documentaries, all sorts of music videos, everything. And I think we had this like catalog of experience on set. So that was a good like we had this shared feeling of what it's like to be on set, and specifically that feeling is everything goes wrong that you think is gonna everything that can will, it's just gonna fall apart. And why so that there's your mockumentary kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
But for this movie and why, it ended up becoming what is called found footage, and there's a turn that happens in the movie that kind of mirrors what the whole idea that we were trying to get after was if we were on set and there was a real nefarious entity that was actually trying to do us harm, we would probably just chalk it up to the chaos of being on set. And I don't think we'd run away. I don't even really think we'd acknowledge, we'd probably ignore it and worry about more important things like how are we going to get this next shot? Where are the sandbags? So
Why
it's
is
like,
lunch running late?
why is lunch running late? Yeah. Who's in overtime? So there was something so inherently funny about that to us. But then also, it was a that I think that like kind of tension gives you a movie too, right? Because then you have characters that are committed to being in this specific space that they shouldn't
Exactly.
be, right?
Yeah.
So that was the idea of the movie.
It's so smart. It's so clever. The way that you're able to do this. I One of my questions was going to be, with all the absurd things that are happening during the quote unquote making of this movie. Did you guys actually pull anything specific from your own life experiences that maybe you sort of um, kind of built upon to kind of include it in the film?
I mean, I think everything was like, I believe it. It was like,
Mm.
yeah, we've had something happen that was not quite, we didn't have a Radcliffe level meltdown, let's say. Okay. That'll be for someone in the future who's seen this movie. But we had things that were two notches below. So then the way I think that you kind of make it a funny movie is you take something that is really funny to us and so we can't believe that happened, and then just kind of take it to 11,
To quote
to
Spinal
a
Tap.
callback
Or
there
call, yeah.
to another huge inspiration, Christopher Guest,
Mhm.
massive inspiration for this movie. So yeah, that was there's nothing specific. I can't think of anything specific. Actors come up late, show up late, they don't know their lines. All the classics have you seen a million times. But as far as the things that happen in this movie, I think it was all just kind of fun house mirroring things that have happened to us.
I gotta ask, Jacob, you are the cinematographer on the film, and I love hearing from cinematographers on found footage projects because you guys are the kind of the stability of the entire thing. What sort of challenges did you face, or what sort of obstacles did you try and overcome in order to make this project come to life?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest obstacle was just accepting the fact that this needs to look a little unpolished because it's supposed to be a documentary, you know? So that for me was always the friction that I was up against was like, okay, this scene we can't move the lights between these setups because if this was a documentary crew, they wouldn't have lights. So like it's just like kind of run it as is. So it's like finding that fine line between making it feel like a documentary, but also making it feel like enough of a polished documentary or prestigious documentary to be a movie, you know? So that was the biggest friction. But in some ways, it was kind of a relief because you kind of have the fallback of like, oh, this doesn't have to look polished. So you kind of like, you get to relax a little and be like, oh, this is just a documentary. We're just watching these people dance in the scene. So it's like this back and forth the whole time while you're shooting. It's like, well, I want this one to look like this needs to feel a little scary. So this one needs to feel this needs height. We need to heighten a little bit with the light. But then, you know, ultimately you land at somewhere in between. And I think we hopefully nailed that.
Yeah, yeah. That was always it was a big compromise. And also a lot of control has to be given over. I mean, they're running
Yeah.
three cameras on a lot of this. So you already I can't imagine doing an actual found footage movie where just an actual actor is holding it the whole time. That is
Yeah,
you know, we dramatize how you could do it where the actor isn't holding it the whole time.
which was the funniest part of the movie, I might say. I laughed so hard when you guys made that little joke in there. I was like, oh my god, that's classic. That's perfect.
But yeah, you have to give over a lot, and the reward of that was that we had three times the footage we've ever had on anything we've ever shot. So we always had something, even when it was amateurish, you know, it's supposed to be. And when you cut to it, it's either funny or interesting in some way that you could never have predicted if like Jacob was holding the camera, you know, because he's just too good. So it's like
I paid him to say that.
yeah, so it was a huge experimental thing that was very like before we were really scared, and then once we got in the edit bay, we I think you knew pretty quickly that we were feeling good.
Yeah, and it was also it's just such a jump from our first movie. Our first movie was the opposite shooting style. It was very meticulous, very storyboard driven. There was no room for changing what was the plan. And so it was just full execution mode and single camera. So it's like going from that to this is like multi-camera. There's lots of room for improv. So it was kind of it was kind of a relief in some ways because you're just free to do whatever you want and kind of feel the moment. And that was fun to go through with my co-cam op and also gaffer James.
Yeah, everyone did like three jobs.
Everyone's wearing multiple hats.
I love hearing that. It's interesting hearing you kind of describe the differences in your last project to this one. Do you feel like less structure is almost sometimes more challenging in that regard?
Yeah, I think you can get suffocated by structure, and I think you can have no plan with no structure. So it's like, how do you find that? How do you find that in between? And what was cool, I think that we tend to be more to err towards over preparing,
Mm.
over rehearsing. You know, too much previs. That you know, if there's such a thing, I do think there is such a thing actually. If you haven't actually stepped into the set and you have to do everything you can by looking at images on Airbnb and trying, and then now we're building that in here, but the shot has to look this certain way, and then you get on set and the window's actually 2 inches taller.
Yeah,
And,
everything.
yeah,
The whole
right.
composition gets thrown
And
off.
you throw the camera in the air. You say, "What was that all about?" You know. So I think that this was it creatively for us a really good project because it actually pushed us to be more in the moment. There were certain things that we did in storyboard nearly as much as we did in our first film, and I think it actually worked to our favor. And I think we grew too. That was cool.
David, next question for you. I actually am a fan of cryptids. I'm optimistic or about
Ooh.
certain things, but Bigfoot is clearly one of the most famous ones. So why Bigfoot? Was it specifically something about the Patterson project, or that there's so much folklore regarding that film and that footage, or why was it Bigfoot instead of maybe some other sort of entity or monster in the U.S. because we have so many sort of cryptids around the country.
Yeah, it's interesting you direct that at me. I will answer a little, but I feel like this we kind of are
Well,
looking at
from a writing story,
from a writing's
yeah,
perspective.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you're right. We were thinking about like all these cryptids. I love cryptids as well. It's like they're super fascinating.
Yeah.
The possibility that they're there is like so cool. Um, so yeah, we talked about everything. It could have been aliens. It could have been, I don't know, a wraith. I don't know. There's something very iconic about just Bigfoot, though. Very simple that people see it, they get it. It's a big ape thing in the woods. It's mysterious. Um, so that did two things for us. It gave us just like a really quick in for like the audience to understand what kind of
Mm,
movie Ace Bradner, the director, was filming.
yeah.
And it also put us in a really cool place visually in the forest, which I know was like huge for Jake. Just so we had like an interesting place to shoot, you know. That was also kind of spooky. We wrote like a kind of faux script around Bigfoot. It was which became the movie within the movie, right? Which was just like also again just very easy for people to kind of feel some semblance about. People get Bigfoot. You don't have to explain the movie within the movie too much
That's
with
true.
this guy, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
But if it was like an alien, you might want to know, like, okay, what kind of alien? And where's it from?
yeah,
You know, is
why
it,
are
yeah,
these things?
is it fungus? Like, what are we dealing with? You know, it's
You got to
like,
write the rules and all that, but this
exactly.
way people bring their own, preconceived notions about Bigfoot to the
Yeah,
idea.
And
Wow,
I think there's something inherently funny about Bigfoot too. So
that
it's like you have that works a little bit, especially a guy in a suit. You know, there's something funny about that when you're making the movie and you know for sure it's a guy in a suit.
yeah.
So it just kind of fit. And of course, Jacob believes in Bigfoot, so that
Jake
was the
loves
biggest thing.
Bigfoot.
Not true.
I
He's
mean,
You will
that,
verify my actual point of view. They are paid to say that.
Uh,
I'm actually leaning towards Jacob on this one. There's some film out there that just doesn't have an explanation, and so we'll see what happens in the future about it.
I think it's out. It's hiding.
It could be. There's lots of force out
waiting.
there. You never know.
He wants to believe. That's his big
I would
thing.
love
Yeah.
if the news headline tomorrow was like Bigfoot's proved real.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Bigfoot comes down to LA.
Come on.
It's
Why not?
Hollywood.
I just need I need a new video to come up. Let me see a new video, you know? Why
I
is
got
the one from 1967 the best one we have?
ooh, very
Good.
good
I
question.
mean, it's really good.
It is.
Why is that the best one though?
It's wild. It's
First
wild
round.
that it is. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that one. I can't leave you guys without talking about Brennan Keel Cook, who is absolutely incredible in this lead. But is he kind of written on an amalgamation of a few of you guys, or specifically one of you?
Yeah, definitely the spirit of him is in, we're all in there. But I think there's actually there's a documentary called American Movie. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but the subject of that documentary is a guy who's trying to make a movie in I believe Wisconsin. I think he is
Yeah,
hockey.
yeah.
I'm not sure, but he's it's basically somewhere where it's very difficult to make a movie, but he just does everything he can to make it happen. He was a huge inspiration. He's an inspiration to us
Mm.
as filmmakers. But Brennan watched that documentary before this, and he said, "I have to imbue this at least with a little bit as an ode to Mark." So there's some of that in there. And then Brennan's just great at playing, the guy who's making all these bad decisions, but you root for him. He's just really good at that guy. Like for some reason, you care about him, even though you shouldn't. So
Because his passion is so real,
yeah,
and we've all experienced like wanting to do something so badly that you almost just like push everything else to the side, maybe treat people poorly just to like get the thing you want, which is probably not the best approach, but like
No.
I think we can all like see ourselves a little bit in a pursuit like that, which is
definitely.
really cool. Yeah, and he brought that so deeply.
He's so good in it. The entire cast is good in it. I was also thrilled to see Chen Tang.
Oh,
Chen,
dang,
yeah.
yeah.
Chen, who I absolutely loved on Warrior, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. It's probably the best martial arts series that's ever been created. And that entire cast, top to bottom, is just incredible. Really happy to see him in this role. And now I have even more respect for him because if you see him on Warrior, I mean, that's just completely on one side of the spectrum compared to this one. So he's just incredible in it. Talk to us about the collaboration with your cast. I mean, you mentioned that the film doesn't need to be as polished. So, what type of things and conversations are you having with cast members about like how to really bring this group together and alive?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the cast was so gung ho to like fill out the characters, which was so cool.
Yeah.
Like Chen plays a guy in it. He's like he decided to make he wanted to be very religious, and it kind of like worked with the character for some reason. That was not in the script at all. He's
Wow.
just like he comes with an idea. He's an incredible physical actor, Chen. So he like completely changed his physicality for that character. And I think that was something. I think that a lot of the cast and crew read the script and related to it so much that they were excited to kind of give it all these flavors from their experiences. So with a movie that had so much improv in it, they just like they gave us so much material to work with. That ultimately we had our pick and choice as to like how serious, how funny, how far away from the scene we actually wrote do we want to like put in the movie versus, do we want to do what was just there. It was like one of the best creative experiences I'd say we've ever had with a cast.
I love hearing that. I feel like it is, allowing for that collaboration and that creativity to kind of really come out. And I think it also helps with you guys not having such a really solid structure to it. You're leaving things open for ambiguity and for, like you mentioned, kind of coming up with brand new ideas and things off the cuff. The movie is Found Footage, The Making of the Patterson Project, in select theaters June 20th, releasing on demand on June 24th. Gentlemen, before I let you go, I want you to sell this movie. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds here. I want you to tell folks at home why they should go check out Found Footage. Go.
You do it.
All right.
You've got to do it.
If you just want to see a really fun movie that is genuinely a comedy, that if you took out all the scares, it's still really funny, you should see our movie. I think it's been a long time since there's been a really fun comedy in theaters or at home. And I, for what it's worth, like there's movies that I've made that I never want to watch again. I will watch this movie in my free time because it's just a fun ride.
It's a
Boom.
fun. It's not only a fun ride, but it's also one that fans will not anticipate. And I can speak from personal experience. I had no idea where this movie was going to take me, and I was really pleased with the journey. So, gentlemen, congratulations. And for more information, you can go check out the pattersonproject.org website. And if you're feeling a little bit brave, you can also call a very special phone number, 1-844 Pat Proj. That's PATPROJ, to kind of get a little glimpse about what to expect. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. Congrats to you and the cast on Found Footage, and cannot wait to see what you gentlemen come up with next.
Great.
Thank you so
Thanks
much, Ted.
Great talking with you.